I decided to do this bread pudding with panettone because I know that a lot of people get panettone at Christmas time and they don't know what to do with it. If they get one or two, they shove them in the freezer and they leave them there and they figure, oh, well, you know, next Christmas I'll take it out and I'll use it again. This is a yeasted bread that originally came from Milan. So you have a bread like this, and then what you need to do is take it, and I just cut it up into chunks. You want to take that paper off first. And if you're going to make this, you can actually find those papers in a bake shop. So you just cut it up into some chunks. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy because this is all going to bake very nicely in the oven. And when I make this, Sal, I like to marinate the bread first in some wine.
A little sweet wine you put in it?
A little sweet wine.
That's very tasty.
So
it
you
makes
need,
it nice and moist.
Right. You need about 4 cups. So here's 4 cups of our panettone. I'll add a little bit more. Now we can get rid of this. So for the wine, we have, of course, some really great Marsala. So why don't you put about 3/4 of a cup of Marsala wine, and you want to do this ahead of time. So you set that aside. Then, just to gussy this up a little bit more, I like to add figs.
These are great.
Now this is bread pudding is something you think of in wintertime, because you want something that's, you know, comforting. So there are no fresh figs in winter, correct?
Impossible.
Okay, we find those in the summer. But there are dried figs, fiki seiki, right?
These are good.
So here we have dried figs. You can find those anywhere in a grocery store. And all I do is soak them first, because sometimes they can be pretty hard. So you soak them in some warm water, just like that, maybe for about 20 minutes. Then you just cut them up into small pieces, and you have your figs all ready to go.
We soak those in the grappa at the restaurant.
Grappa's another good thing.
But that would interfere with the flavor of this.
Exactly. So while that's happening, you want to heat up some milk. So here we have 4 cups of milk and 1/2 cup or 1/3 of a cup of heavy cream. So this is warm now. So once it's warm, then what we need to do is get some egg yolks ready. And I'm going to have you help me with this part. So first of all, we need 4 eggs. All right, now we're going to do the dueling whisk exercise. I've got the easier one, and you've got the harder one, because all I have to do is break up these yolks. And he has to whip those whites until they're fairly stiff. Once I have broken up the yolks like this, then I can add the milk and the cream mixture. And here's a little trick that I use, Sal. I always pour over the instrument that I'm using so it diffuses it and doesn't splatter all over you.
Doesn't cook the egg either, right?
So we have our warm milk, our egg yolks, and our cream. And now I want to give this a little bit of orange zest. And I also have some lemon zest. I put a lot in because a teaspoon of orange and lemon zest does nothing.
Doesn't amount to anything, especially with that much.
You want a good tablespoon or so. And then with this, we want a little bit of salt, obviously, to give this a little bit of flavor.
Exactly.
Here we have a little cinnamon, about 1/2 teaspoon. 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg goes in.
I've never had that before. That sounds great.
And you mix all this up, and now we have that bread that's been soaking all this time, and we take that, put it right in here. See? Just like that.
That's great.
Now, how you doing on those whites?
They're good.
You getting there? Come on, we need a little arm exercise here. Now we add the figs. Does this sound good, folks, so far?
That looks delicious.
All right, now we have the figs. We mix all this together.
You want a little more like this? Or?
A little bit, yes, they have to be a little thicker than that. Now, meanwhile, while Sal is getting those whites ready, we need to have a deep baking dish. So a 9 by 13 baking dish. We're going to put a little butter right in the bottom of the dish. And our oven is on, preheated at 325 degrees. We're going to cook this at a low temperature. All right, good.
Good.
All right, now we want to put that in. You could put cranberries in this, dried cranberries. All right, so now it goes right in there. And if you will do me the honors of opening the oven door. Spread that out so it's nice and even. This is great served with just the way it is, but sometimes I like to add a little bit of whipped cream. So now we put this in the oven, and here is our water bath. And I will bring out the cooked bread pudding. There it is. You take it out of the water bath.
Oh, that's beautiful.
See, and you'll know it's done by just taking a little knife and going like that.
Comes out clean.
And you want to serve it warm.
This is just heavy whipped cream with the
That's
sugar?
just heavy whipped cream with a little bit of sugar, because you don't need much, because we
It's
already
got a lot of sweetness.
we already
right?
have sweetness in here from the figs. Let's see if I can get a piece out.
Oh, that looks
Very
great.
nice and fluffy. Now, if you would just pipe some whipped cream on that. A little whipped cream. And then
It's
I
wonderful.
take a fig,
Oh, look at that.
put it there,
Little minta.
a little mint. Just
Beautiful.
stick it there. A little bit of, where did our powdered sugar go? Right there. And out of bread, you have created
Look at that.
fantasy.